Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. It's a great day to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's jump right in. So the hits keep coming for Coach Tomlin and the Steelers. James Harrison comes out today and he says, I never really thought that Coach Tomlin was a good coach, a great coach. He was okay. We all know they have this, everlasting type of beef because James Harrison claims that Coach Tomlin wasn't honest with him. But I have heard James Harrison in the past talk about Coach Tomlin's practice time and the usage of practice time and how it wasn't organized and structured like the New England Patriots. And if you remember Minka Fitzpatrick a while ago, he came out in an article before he was about 2 years before he was traded, and he said that the Steelers and Coach Tomlin need to use the time better in practice, that they need to be more organized. Then, right before Minka Fitzpatrick was traded, he made a comment and said, if you're on defense and you don't communicate in the back end, that you won't be playing, that you won't be on the field. And these things are all a reflection of Coach Tomlin. When the players feel like they can do whatever they want because there's no consequences, you heard Aaron Rodgers yesterday. He's on the podium and he's saying that basically Jono Smith decided not to show up for film study and that's why they weren't on the same page. When you hear things like this and see things like this, that's a reflection of the coach. That means that the players don't respect the coach. That means the players know there's going to be no accountability, whether they show up to practice, don't show up to practice. They just feel they can do whatever they want. And we've heard this multiple times throughout the year. Cam Hayward's came out and said things like this. I don't know what guys were doing today. They just did whatever they want. Remember Cam Sutton? Same thing. Cam Sutton just did whatever he wanted the entire time he was a Steeler. And not only was he doing whatever he wanted, he was a horrible player. So then James Cook, who ran all over the Steelers yesterday for the Buffalo Bills, he comes out and he says, Bills had a specific plan on how to attack Steelers run D. James Cook said it was to test the cornerbacks. Coming into the game, we leaning on them. They're one of the worst tackling corner groups in the NFL. Just try to get the ball on the edge. We did a pretty good job today. Isn't this the Steelers we're talking about? Isn't this the Pittsburgh Steelers, known for physicality? Now, I've never been a big fan of Joey Porter Jr. I think on any other team, he's a third corner, a fourth corner, especially if they're deep in the secondary. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Pittsburgh Steelers handle Joey Porter Jr.'s contract when his contract is up. Me personally, I know there's not a lot of great corners around the league, but if I don't think he deserves big money at all, and if he wants to test the free agent market and get signed somewhere else, I would let him walk right out the door. I'm willing to just flush it down the toilet and start all over again. Sometimes that's what you got to do. This reset button, it should have been done a long time ago. I felt it should have been done against the Jaguars when the Steelers lost the playoff game versus the Jags. I'm not going to get into it. I've told the story a gazillion times. I thought for sure Coach Tomlin was finished after that game. And then Art Rooney today. This is real. When I read this, I was really pissed off. I was like, man, you got to be kidding me. Art Rooney says that the Steelers really started to notice there was a problem when the Steelers played the Packers, and they noticed that there was more Packers fans in the stadium than Steelers fans, and that Steelers fans were selling their tickets. Then you have to think to yourself, wait a minute, that's the only thing that's been catching your attention? Wait, so now that there's no the fans are leaving early and the fans are chanting fire Tomlin and booing Renegade, but the nails in the coffin are because the fans are leaving the games and selling their tickets. So for the last 15 years, you haven't noticed that the team's going in the wrong direction. This is the thing that catches Art Rooney and the Steelers organization's eye. Not the losing on the field, not the product on the field. Letting Coach Tomlin drive the team into the abyss of mediocrity, that doesn't catch your eye. No, a lot of Packers fans in the stadium today. We got to do something now. Steelers fans are selling their tickets. A business is a business and the NFL is a business, so I get it. But when you think about what has to happen when we finally get rid of Coach Tomlin and have to start from ground zero up, This process could have been done a long time ago. It's like a slow bleed. It's like a slow death. You get like a little like it's the art of 1,000 paper cuts instead of just it's gone on way too long. It's painful. It's painful. And now when you do a rebuild, a so-called rebuild, we're bad now. So how long do you think it's going to be before we're good? Like a rebuild usually takes another couple years. I mean, everybody keeps saying they're at a loss for words. Yeah, I guess I'm for a loss of words right now. But we all know a rebuild doesn't happen overnight. And going into this season, I was really optimistic in the summertime. I really thought we were going to the Super Bowl. You're going to be like, oh, you're just saying that. You're a homer. You didn't really mean it. No, I did mean it. Last year, the Steelers defense was a top 10, top 11 defense. They didn't have any offense whatsoever and were still a top 10 defense, and they were on the field constantly. Then the offensive line, Troy Fontana was hurt. I really thought that our offensive line developed. Like, even if our run game, even if we were like top 15 in the league and run, and then our defense came back, and I'm thinking, well, if we were top 10, top 11 with absolutely no offense with Russell Wilson, we could be a top 3, top 5 defense. Our running game's going to get better. And all we need Aaron Rodgers to do is throw for, 200 yards a game and 2 touchdowns and not turn the ball over. And we have a real chance to win a Super Bowl or go deep into the playoffs. And man, it just seems like all a dream now. It just seems like a bad dream. But let's keep things in perspective. We still have a chance to win the division. Isn't that absolutely insane? It's insane. Just shows you how much bad football is going around in the NFL. The Steelers can still win the division, still get into the playoffs and change it all around. See, the only thing that could say, well, Adam Schefter came out today. He claims to have inside knowledge on ESPN. He said, Coach Tomlin's definitely not getting fired. The Steelers aren't firing Tomlin. I mean, I know they have a love affair with Tomlin. Tomlin could crash the plane, come back from Ireland, and it seems like if ESPN was reporting on it, Art Rooney still wouldn't fire him. But hey, that's what they say. They say that Coach Tomlin's not going to be fired no matter what. But how could Coach Tomlin win the fan base back? The only way Tomlin wins the fan base back this year is to win a Super Bowl. That's it. It's like, all right, you got to push all your chips to the middle and you got to win the Super Bowl. That's the only thing. The only thing literally that Tomlin could do to get the fan base back this year is to win a Super Bowl. You'd be like, oh man, you're really optimistic. You're losing your mind. You're just saying these things. Hot takes. Right? That's all we ever hear. Hot take. You're doing a hot take. You're trying to get emotion out of people by saying controversial things. What is the only way to get the fan base back this year? And that would be for Coach Tomlin to win the Super Bowl. And again, in August, I told myself, I said, you know what? If the defense plays the way it does, and we got a top 10 or 15 run game, and Aaron Rodgers, he was getting better towards the end of the season with the Jets. He had a good season. He threw for 27 touchdowns. He had the same amount of yards as Josh Allen. He had an excellent season. He got better as the season went on with the Jets. I really thought we could pull this off. And then you see some of the moves that we made on defense. Now, I'm not crazy. I was never crazy about the Darius Slay signing with the Steelers. I thought letting go of Minka Fitzpatrick was a mistake. I still think it's a mistake because now you have Jalen Ramsey back at safety instead of Minka. People will say, oh, their play is neck and neck, but whatever. I didn't like the trade, but I really thought that Aaron Rodgers would be the final piece to the puzzle. And then DK Metcalf, that a lot of people are saying, oh, he's played hard. I don't think he's played horrible, but not having a wide receiver number 2 definitely didn't help the situation. And that's another thing that, Cam Newton was saying today and Stephen A. Smith. And I shouldn't even be mentioning these two clowns because obviously they don't know anything about the Steelers. They'll defend Coach Tomlin no matter what. But I'm here to defend Coach Tomlin on this because they were saying that the Steelers should have never have let go of George Pickens. You all know how I feel about George. Coach Tomlin was 1,000% correct in letting George go. Late to practice, late to games, no respect for the organization, no respect for it was time to say goodbye. Even if it hurt the team in the long run, it was time to say goodbye. I'm totally okay with that decision. And for anybody to say it was a bad decision, you are not fully plugged in with the Steelers. You're just not. You know, you have no clue what was going on there with George Pickens. Dejected TJ Watt says after the game yesterday with the Bills, never seen a team run the same play as often as Bills did to Steelers. Hey, well, if you can't stop it, we're going to keep running it. One of the craziest things about all this, too, is 3 weeks ago, the Steelers played the Colts with Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is, the leading rusher in the league. And the Pittsburgh Steelers defense absolutely shut him down during the game. He couldn't get anything going. There's just no consistency. You never know what you're going to get with the Steelers. And why can't we play like that? Why can't we play like that versus the Bills and everybody else? Why can't we give play with consistency? What is the problem? What is the problem? I mean, it's so many things, but you see what I'm getting at. This is the same team that defeated the Colts, had 7 sacks, shut down Jonathan Taylor. They made plays. And, a lot of the fan base will say, well, the Colts gave them the game. They made too many mistakes. I don't like to look at things. You either make the plays or you don't. And you can't deny the fact that the Steelers defense shut down Jonathan Taylor, probably the best running back in the league right now. It happened. And this Sunday, we travel to our arch nemesis, the Baltimore Ravens. And this is like a movie. Both teams are teetering, hanging off the cliff by a thread. It's a cliffhanger. Can the Steelers turn around? Can the Ravens turn around? The two teams that despise each other the most, playing each other for their playoff life and the division title on the line. Can't have a better storyline. Coach Tomlin fighting for his coaching life. John Harbaugh, he's in the same boat as Coach Tomlin, it seems like. He doesn't seem like he's on the hot seat as much, but you see what I'm saying. Both teams right now are very, very similar. What's going on in the structure of their organization. And I want to see this game turn into a street fight. I want to see the nastiest group of Pittsburgh Steelers fighting like their lives depend on it, because your livelihood is depending on this football game. And if we got to take a penalty here, a penalty there, I want the Steelers to come out and turn this game into a street fight and just show the Baltimore Ravens that they want to win this game more than the Ravens. Something we haven't seen from the Steelers in a long time. Grit. We haven't seen grit. We haven't seen fight. We definitely haven't seen it. We didn't see it yesterday. I thought we seen it against the Colts game. We came out ready to play. And that's the way we need to come out versus our arch nemesis, the Baltimore Ravens. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2.